Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse One here. Welcome, welcome. We are going to be talking about the people who have recovered from COVID. How are they doing? What's going on with them, and stuff like that. Okay, so we're going to get into that in just a moment. I just want to remind people if we have any issues with the stream tonight, to just be patient. Give me a moment, and I will get back on as soon as I possibly can. The last few have gone pretty well, so let's keep our fingers crossed that that trend continues. So we will see what happens. But anyway, so just be patient and we'll see how it all goes. But anyway, I want to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. So please be decent in the chat. Please be kind to each other. And no racism, no nastiness, and we will go from there. Okay. So again, if you have any questions, all cap lock so it stands out for me. All right. So again, if this gets dinged out in the internet as well. All right. Oh, you are killing me. Hold on a second. Okay, it stopped for a second. I thought we were going to have an interruption. I was like, no, not already. So, all right. So let's get into this topic. Okay. So a lot of people supposedly have recovered from COVID. So what's going on? What's really happening with these folks? Well, there's a major issue with a lot of these folks that have recovered. A lot of issues. You have people that months and months after they've recovered, they're still having medical issues. And a lot of them have gone back to the hospital for treatment of said medical issues. So what do I mean? Okay. Let's see. Oh, that's funny. The cat came in. John said for the cat says hello. That's funny. So what do I mean? All right, so I'm going to give a couple of different examples. One of the things that people said that with getting COVID, it like thickens the blood while they have it and stuff like that. So there's a lot of issues with blood clots. So some people, after they have supposedly recovered from COVID, are ending up having strokes because they're throwing clots and it's causing them to have strokes. That's a scary thing in itself. Also, one of the major issues that have been going on, the people that have recovered from COVID have diminished lung capacity. So what do I mean by that? We're like, right now, you're breathing fine, everything's normal, you can do what you've always done and stuff like that. And we're not just talking older folks, guys. We're talking younger folks as well, okay? So after they have recovered from this, what happens is there's permanent damage in their lungs. And it takes, and there's people months and months after they've supposedly recovered are having breathing issues. They're having to use, breathing treatments to try to open up their lungs. They get winded very, very easily. Wolfang just said, Reddit, we may have a dust storm. Yeah, we can talk about that too, because that's coming over from the Sierra. It's supposed to be quite a bit worse than normal. It's much larger than there's this dust storm that normally comes every year off the Sahara Desert, and it's coming in, and it's going to be much, much worse. They're saying this year is a huge, huge dust cloud coming, so that'll be interesting when that gets here, and that's going to affect the southern part of the United States, is what they're saying. But anyway, so you got these people that are having a lot of breathing issues. They are like exhausted, no energy. They are out of breath after walking up a flight of stairs. I mean, think about that as a younger person. Some of these people, does this mean they can't blow up birthday candles? I have no idea. I'm sure they probably still could. But, if you think about not being able to do with small exertions, you're out of breath and you can't breathe properly. I mean, and that's being, and there's a lot of younger people that are having this happen to them too. And think about already our older people are already compromised. And now you have this permanent damage in your lungs. And this is also obviously affecting the heart too. There's been a lot of people that ended up having heart attacks after they recovered from COVID. So it's funny. Yeah, that was a silly question. That's okay. So the problem is, just because they've recovered doesn't mean it's the end of the road. When you have a lot more issues going on that you did not have before you got it, and now that you are supposedly recovered, and now you're trying to deal with these other things. Really scary stuff. Really, really scary stuff. I mean, I couldn't imagine, being in my 20s, and there was one of the things that I was reading was a person that was in their 20s that had done yoga, very, very active, did all kinds of stuff. I think was a runner as well, and then they ended up getting COVID, and when they recovered, again, just winded walking up a flight of stairs. I mean, and how long is that going to be for? Is that permanent, or is that going to be something that they're going to bounce back from? When you're talking permanent lung damage, those things don't go away. So is that the new normal for that person? I mean, think about that. Think about those things. And, that's really scary to think about. So, when people talk about all these numbers and, all these people have recovered and everything is great, it's really not. It's really not, because they're having a lot of other issues and they're having a lot of other complications that they did not have before they ended up getting the virus. So I'm going to tell you what, like I said, I personally believe, and again, this part is opinion. I personally believe it's a weapon that has been utilized, and even the ones that have recovered, you have your people that have died, but even the ones that are recovered are never going to be the same. So, hey, Troy, thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate that. So, guys, we're already up to 556 in the chat. We got 157 thumbs up. If you haven't shot a thumbs up yet, I would ask you to do that, please, to show support for the channel. And again, it does help with the algorithms as well. So that's a good thing. And like I said, plus I like good number of thumbs up. So if you would do that, I would appreciate it. And thank you for doing that ahead of time. And again, if you are not subscribed, please make sure you subscribe, to the channel as well. And make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications. So YouTube, of course, is now back to playing their normal game, where if I get some new subscribers from whatever I've done, they slowly take them all away. So it happens all the time. It happens all the time. It's amazing. So, but a man that worked at our church still can't walk or eat on his own, and it's like he suffered a stroke and was it COVID? It could be. Absolutely could be, and that's D. Jones just asked that one. What I would do if you know people that have had it and have recovered, sit down, talk to them, ask them, because that's the ones that are going to be able to tell you how they're doing. So, like I said, I absolutely believe this is a weaponized thing, because if you can take people out, and even if they recover from the disease, and if they have other major health issues going forward, that weakens your society, number one. It weakens your workforce and stuff like that. Why do you think that they had it on there that if you had recovered from COVID that you couldn't be in the military? Think about that. Hey, L. Gibson, I remember them saying in the beginning of COVID that there would be long-term damage to the lungs and the heart. Exactly. Yep. And then all of a sudden you didn't hear about it anymore. Isn't that amazing? It's really weird what they'll put out there and what they won't. So, but yeah, they did say that in the beginning. Hey, Prepper Chris 1, did you hear about the T-Mobile Tower 3 that they burned it? I did not hear that. No, I did not hear that. So, but thank you for that information. I'll have to look into that. I had not heard that at all. Thank you both for the donation as well. But yeah, it's just it's funny because, like I said, they did talk about that in the beginning of permanent heart and permanent lung damage, and then all of a sudden they just don't talk about it anymore, because it's like you look at the number of people that we have in the United States that have had the virus, right? A lot of people. Yep, affecting both young and old, so no specific age. Exactly, JJ just said that. Yeah. So, and like I said, one of the things I really want people to think about, this is just round one. We're still on round one. We're not even in round two yet. So this thing mutates, comes back in the fall. How much worse is it going to be then? That would be a huge concern as far as I can see. So, yeah, I like that, Asif. COVID is nothing to sneeze at. That's very funny. So, Will China hit us with an EMP, do you think? I don't think that China will hit us with an EMP. I don't, because I want to look at something real quick, and I wanted to, because I saw this earlier today. Yep, and I just wanted to verify what it was down. No, I don't think China will hit us with an EMP. It wouldn't be in their best interest to do that, because if they did that, we would go nuclear on them. We have so many subs out there and those type of things all over, and we have all these bases all over the world. There would be retaliation, and they know that it would be bad, really, really bad. So I think if you're going to see anything, and I've talked about this a little bit as far as an attack on the United States, it would be an attack on the power grid. It would, because they don't have to do an EMP, guys. They don't have. If you want to destroy America, kill our power. That's how you destroy America, and that's because then we'll destroy ourselves. Hey, Donna Smith. Numbers in several states going up. Florida has high numbers of young people in the hospital. Houston is at 97% capacity in the ICU beds. Bad news. Yes, I saw that as well. I think California just had a record number of new cases in one day as well. But yeah, I heard Houston was at 97% capacity in their ICU units. This thing is not, and like I said, it's not going away anytime soon. And just so let's be clear, what's the temperatures in Texas on a regular basis this time of year? Over 100 degrees every day. So the temperature, that whole fallacy that when it warms up, it'll go away, that's obviously not being the case. When you have something that's been engineered, they take those things into consideration. Okay, I absolutely 100% believe, and there's nothing to convince me otherwise, that this wasn't a bioengineered thing that either was let loose on purpose or on accident. Arizona is 87% ICU capacity. So you overwhelm the hospitals. Let's think about this realistically for a moment. You overwhelm the hospitals. So you have this virus that comes out. It's affecting all kinds of people. The hospitals are overwhelmed. Your nursing staffs are just being worked to death. Okay, you are having nurses quitting that are not going to be working as nurses anymore. The burnout rate in nursing is bad enough as it is, and you throw this in there on top of it, and now you've got all these precautions. And even with all the precautions that nurses and doctors are taking, doctors and nurses are still getting the virus, and they are dying. Okay, so that's what people are not paying attention to. I mean, some of these things is, COVID was a weapon, absolutely. Annette Boyle just said that. You're right. I absolutely agree with you 100%. So, I heard about Broadway actors in ICU with COVID that had to get leg removed because of a blood clot. Oh, yeah, that one guy, yes. I heard that one, he had blood clots, and so now you got a leg removed. I mean, so it's not just, and so they throw these people on the recovered list like everything is great, like they're 100% back to normal, and they're never going to be 100% back to normal. There's a lot of other issues with that. And then what happens the next time they get some kind of major sickness? With diminished lung capacity already, if you can't breathe, and let's say you get, bronchitis or something like that, that could be a death sentence, That could absolutely be a death sentence. So those are things that people really need to take into consideration. I'll tell you what, I got offered with the motorcycle group there. My one buddies they call them the Legion Riders. So it's all veterans, and they get together and they ride and stuff like that. And they're having an event coming up this weekend, and they asked me if I wanted to go. And I'm not going to. And I'm going to tell you exactly why I'm not going to. They're having people from all over meeting up on the other side of Syracuse, New York, okay? And it is way too many people. People from all different parts of the country are coming. They said there's some of the riders are coming up from Georgia. To me, I don't personally want to be around large groups of people right now. I don't think it's a smart thing to do. People were saying to me, "Oh, well, you're going to the store and the grocery store, and you're going." Like when I was doing my projects, I was hitting Lowe's and doing that. Yeah, but when I went to Lowe's, I would go to Lowe's, I would get exactly what I needed, and get right back out of there again. It wasn't like I was hanging around perusing the store for an hour and a half. I'm getting in, I'm getting out. Just like when we go to the grocery store. I go to the grocery store, we get in, we get what we need, and we get out. We're not interacting or trying to interact with a whole bunch of people. So, we interact with the same group of people up here all the time. So, that's, to me, that's not that big of a deal. So I'm not having a lot of exposure to a lot of people that I don't know. So with getting together with a larger group of guys, and going out for a ride, I love riding. Don't get me wrong. I'll ride as much as I possibly can, but you have to be smart too at the same time. So, I'm not going to put myself in that risk, like with Heather going back to school. Okay. Let's talk about like that for a second. She's supposed to go back to school in August. At an EMP would take out our entire grid, sir. You're right. It would. An EMP would destroy everything now. Everything. What people are not understanding. Let's talk about the difference of attacking our power grid in an EMP. If you attack the power grid and you're able to shut down the power grid for whatever reason, and there's been hacks, guys. They've hacked into a whole bunch of different things. Okay, but if they can just attack the power grid, what's the 600-pound gorilla in the room that nobody's talking about? The 600-pound gorilla in the room that nobody's talking about is we have a whole bunch of nuclear power plants all over this country. And without the capability of keeping the cores cooled down with water and stuff like that, you would be looking at a major radiation being all over the place, them melting down, and all kinds of issues. So an EMP, that's going to affect all those power plants as well. Now, if you attack the grid, those power plants have backup generators and stuff like that. They could still run those generators, okay? They could still keep those reactors cool so they didn't melt down and cause a whole lot of other issues. People don't think about that. So if you destroy everything, like an EMP, okay, let's say an EMP hits, bam, lights are out all over. It's going to affect a lot more things, and people don't think about that in the long run or the short-term thing. They don't think about everything else that's going to be affected from